Hey guys, Russ here with bishopswest.com. Wanted to do something a little bit different today. I don't usually do product reviews, or at least I haven't in the past. So I thought it'd be interesting just to try that today and let you know about a couple plugins and how they work, again within the context of Bitwig Studio. So a couple months ago, during all the Black Friday madness and all that, I picked up a couple plugins from SOUNDSPOT, and I thought they looked cool and they were super cheap, so I went ahead and did it. The first one is Nebula, which is a delay effect with some stuff added into it, as well as Oracle, which is a reverb, but again with some kind of cool stuff added into it. So let's start with Nebula. It is, I think, one of the best done interfaces that I've seen as far as plugins. So let's start. I'm just going to let you listen, like always, what it sounds like raw. I've just got these chords set up, and it sounds like. Okay, so that's all it is. So I'm going to play first with the delay a little bit, and I'm going to turn off everything else that's included, and I'll get to each of these in just a second here. But for the delay, and of course you can change the timing, feedback, how long it lasts, or I guess the strength. And of course the mix, you can play right. So I'll leave that at 50. And of course left, right, you don't have to have those. First, using this little button here, you can use a ping pong delay, but they don't have to be linked together is what I was going to say. So you can kind of switch things around a little bit, which is kind of fun. Right, but triplets. So let's leave those linked though. Get those up to 1/8. Okay. Next thing you can do is add chorus. Maybe just a little bit to add some movement to it. Same thing with the flanger. And then a filter too, which is kind of handy for rolling off some of the low end and some of the high end. So, and by the way, I'm sure you're aware, but that can be really handy too for especially getting some of the low end out of there. Helps keep your mix from getting too muddy when you're adding stuff like delay, or especially for reverb. The other thing though is it has this LFO, which is kind of a cool idea, right? You can set how long it lasts. So say we want it to last for a bar. So it's kind of an interesting idea, right? Where in this case, this shape, it goes up. You have to be careful. It doesn't act exactly like it looks like. It's actually 4 counts. So you've got 3 counts where it goes, increases, and then 1 count where it goes down to 0. So if you listen carefully, you can kind of hear that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So just something to be aware of. But the other thing, and this is why I'm kind of putting this in the context of Bitwig Studio, is there's a little thing where SOUNDSPOT and Bitwig Studio don't like each other. Not the actual companies, just the plugin and the DAW. And so watch what happens once I get past the 4th bar. It stops. And then when you click stop, it starts up again for no reason whatsoever. So I contacted SOUNDSPOT about this, and they said that they are adhering to the VST specification, and it must be something wrong with the DAW. I contacted then Bitwig about it, and they said, well, there are certain plugins that don't adhere to the VST standard, and they are doing everything they should be doing on their end. So somebody screwed up and probably just didn't realize it. Somewhere along the line, some little detail that isn't working, so these two things aren't communicating properly. So that's kind of something that's, you know, a big deal if you want to use this LFO. And it's not just Nebula, it's also Oracle. So somewhere in their programming practices, I guess, either SOUNDSPOT messed up or Bitwig Studio messed up, and I have no idea who. I'm not blaming anybody, I just wish it would work, because it is kind of a cool idea, right? Now within Bitwig Studio, of course, we've got the modulators, so we can set up something like with an LFO or whatever we want to use that would achieve the same effect, but it's just kind of, it would be nice if it worked within the plugin like it's supposed to. Okay, so that's Nebula. Oracle, let's get that up, is in some ways kind of the same idea. So let's listen to that. Let's see, let's start with the effects. So you've got saturation. Oops, sorry, that's kind of loud. And you've got the same thing with the LFO, which again, I wish it worked. It's kind of hard to hear in this example, but and then you've got a flanger. Again, just kind of add some movement to it. The reverb itself, you've got your pre-delay, the time, dampen, mix, kind of the standard stuff. What I like about this one though is the imaging piece of it. Kind of lets you play with, do you want to work with the spread? So especially if you've got headphones on, that's kind of fun to listen to. Your side position, mid position, you can link those. Turned off the looping, that's why. But you can also, oops. So that's kind of fun. I really think that's a good idea, and I think it's implemented fairly well. Same thing, like I mentioned before, you've got your filter cut, so you can try to avoid muddying up your mix too much. Effects we already talked about, dynamics, a little bit of compression there. I don't think I'll go into that just because it's pretty standard, but yeah, I really like this, but man, if we could get that working properly, life would be happy, you know? So there you have it. There's my review of the SOUNDSPOT plugins. I like the interface. I think they sound pretty decent, and they've got some really cool stuff built in and all bundled into one plugin. Just that little wacky thing. I've seen when doing my research on Google that I think it's Harrison Mixbus has the same kind of issues with the SOUNDSPOT plugins, but I haven't seen it with any other DAWs. So, I mean, if you're not using Bitwig, then by all means go and get these plugins, especially when they're on sale and super cheap like I did. So I hope you found that helpful, useful, interesting. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section down below. Thumbs up if you liked it and it was useful. And again, if you haven't done so already, go to bishopswest.com/bitwig setup, and I've got a free guide for you there called Accelerate Your Music Making in Bitwig Studio. Pretty handy guide for getting things kind of set up so that when you start with Bitwig Studio, when you first start it up, that you can get right to music making and you don't have to worry about some of the little details that maybe you always have to adjust before you start working. So bishopswest.com/bitwig setup. And I think that's all I had for you. So have a great day, guys. Talk to you next time.